What was the worst gift you received for Christmas? My mom took me to her boyfriend's family Christmas party in rural Michigan once. Someone gave me the year in Clemson football, 1993. It was very nice that someone thought enough to give me a gift, but 9-year-old me really struggled with the logic behind the purchase. Toothpaste. Apparently it wasn't even that my breath stank. We were just out of toothpaste. I am going to answer for my sister. When I was about 5 making her 9, our uncle, aunt, cousin family asked me what my sister liked. I had no idea. All I knew was she liked to yell at me. So I dumbly replied she liked hair ties. For Christmas that year my sister received an assortment of an insanely high number. Like 200 different high ties. Scrunches. ECT. She didn't let me live that down for a long time. For Christmas one year I received rocks. Literally rocks. I used to collect geodes, so my aunt and uncle decided to get me rocks. Except there was nothing special about the ones I received. They were just the little ones you find in people's gardens. My parents got me an acoustic guitar one Christmas. Problem: my brother was the one who asked for a guitar, not me. So essentially my Christmas present was seeing my brother absolutely gutted. Meanwhile I had to pretend I was happy. Awkward. Book about how to take criticism. Gifted by my mother-in-law. At Christmas I once unwrapped a box of yellow number 2 pencils. I must have looked a little disappointed because my mom told me to just wait and I'd see why Santa had brought them. It was because he also got me an electric pencil sharpener. We had a secret Santa with the whole family, and everyone usually goes a bit overboard even though it's supposed to be a relaxed thing. One year my uncle from California was able to make it and we included them. His wife wanted all her kids to be added as well so they would revive something. One of her kids ended up drawing my name for it, and when she gave me my gift on behalf of them, she bought me a $5 lead pencil and pen, and another of her kids drew my mom's name, and then she said, "Oops, I didn't get you anything yet. I thought it was supposed to be done on New Year's Eve." Well, her kids got giant dollhouses and trikes. My divorced parents pooled their money to buy me a Game Boy Color. The problem was they'd already got me a Game Boy Color. But I guess they didn't understand that it was the same one and thought it was new. They both looked so excited as I opened it I didn't have the heart to tell them. So I just kept playing my one game on my new Game Boy Color. My mom rarely cared what gift we might actually want or what our personal tastes were in. Most often she would select a gift based on her own personal tastes. In the late 80s she decided to buy me a stereo as the main large gift for whatever reason, and she selected a Fisher-Price, the children's toy brand, turntable, record player. This is after CD players were invented, and of course nobody played records anymore. The worst part was that she decided to treat this stereo as some sophisticated equipment that was too good for a child to play with, so after Christmas she stored it in its original box in our attic, where it had remained until this day. It was supposed to just be stored there until some arbitrary time, but my mom is a huge procrastinator and that time never came. I'm still salty that she wasted all the money on that stupid gift rather than on something I might have enjoyed and actually got to use. Years back my cousin bought me a rifle case. I had never owned a gun nor expressed interest in it. Just an empty rifle case. When I was 15, I really wanted a dog. My mom knew this. Cute Christmas morning, after we had opened any other presents, my mom came back with one last one. It was a wrap box with holes in the sides, bouncing, moving some, and puppy barks of cuteness. I got so excited to open it and meet my new best friend. When I opened it, it had a stuffed animal puppy, not taxidermized, a bumbleball toy, and a small tape recorder with puppy barks. My heart sank and I just sat there and cried. When I was in 6th grade in 1995, my parents got me a CD case. I didn't have any CDs. A record player that only worked for 2 weeks. I knew I was getting it since November. I didn't want nor need it, but I accepted it to be nice. It was kinda funny because my parents trolled me by spreading out the records in boxes of different shapes and sizes. When I still lived with my parents, they got me a Cards Against Humanity deck. Right after I opened it, they told me I'm not allowed to play it until I turned 18. I was 15 at the time. A bundle of industrial-grade deodorant. I think I would have preferred a punch to the face. A couple years ago, my dad registered me to see a few of my favorite shows taped in NYC. I got super excited about it, but then realized that he wouldn't be paying for anything and expected me to stay with my narcissistic grandma in New Jersey, who I avoid as much as possible. Then I found out that not only were the tickets to see the tapings free, but he had already told my grandma I'd be staying with her, and she had all sorts of yard work and stuff ready for me to do for her once I arrived. Obviously, I didn't go, and my dad is still bitter that I didn't appreciate his gift. My non-favorite grandparents once gave me a Peter Parker doll when I was like 17. I mean a doll too. I could undress him if I so pleased. He didn't come with a Spidey costume either, haha. I got an empty box of a toy I really wanted. I was 9. Piles and piles and piles of Star Trek tots when one was like 10 or something. Star Trek action figures, Star Trek micro machines, die-cast Star Trek ships, Star Trek puzzles, Star Trek toys, Star Trek everything. I asked for Star Wars toys. I grew up really poor and received some batteries for an old toy car I already had, lol. Looking back at it, it's kinda funny, but I remember crying when that happened. I was 7. One year my parents and all of my aunts, uncles, and grandparents gave me scented lotion. I guess they all thought that's what you get for teen girls. When I was 13, I was taking drum lessons and was desperate for my own kit. My mum worked at the Early Learning Center, preschool-age kids shop for non-UK chaps. Mum and Dad got me this little plastic toy drum and made me play a tune on it. I tried my best not to look upset. I failed and stopped just short of bursting into tears. Turned out to be a sick joke. The drums were wrapped up in the dining room. My aunt got my mom a wine glass that holds an entire bottle of wine. My mom is diabetic. Every year my mom would take us all to Dollar Tree to buy one gift for each member of the family. At the time there was 5 of us kids plus mom and dad, so we would get 5 to 6 presents, all worth $1 each. Christmas, we would sit around and take turns opening them. Eventually this would turn into gags as we got older. One year I thought it would be a funny idea to give my brother and brother-in-law a shitty can of beef stew. My brother-in-law was so pissed off. He was a serious fellow. At first I didn't know why and was in shock. I didn't think a can of soup was that bad. Turns out my dumb ass bought them Gravy Train, a can of dog food, which turned out to be hilarious to everyone else who were mocking me. My brother and I took it a step further though and decided we would try a few bites. It was the most awful thing ever. Wet, slimy chunks of pureed grit that makes me gag thinking about it, but we were tough and could not show our disgust to the other. When my sister first got married to the serious fellow, we each got her pregnancy test, which turned out pretty fun. All of our gifts we could have perceived to be the worst. Honestly, it did suck sometimes seeing kids at school with iPods. None were great. Most were thrown away or broken minutes after receiving them. We were poor. What started out as a $20 Christmas for mom and dad has created years of fun memories. My mom got me a roll of toilet roll with a bunch of lame jokes on them. In theory, it's probably the best present for 2020. A set of salt and pepper shakers. The gifts were donated to us and I don't know how they forgot my parents had 4 kids. The same exact set of the same exact scent of Axe stuff my grandma gets me every year. Fuck Axe. One year for Christmas my aunt gave identical cuckoo clocks to my parents, my brother, and me and my husband. It was just confusing. We've never asked her about it. My mother is terrible at gift giving. She shops for others with herself in mind, not them. So everyone gets shit she likes but they don't. Or she buys it in March and then can't find it come December. And your gift is her telling you that's what happened. Or she'll buy, say, a book trilogy in an art box. And she'll give each book one holiday at a time. Then the final gift will be the box. As I grew older, I started seeing this. I never got anything that I specifically asked for. Possibly a close approximate at best. I figured it was because nothing I asked for interested her. So I tried something. I asked for something that she would be into. I asked for a Bible. I specified the brand, the translation, hardback, paperback, and the book cover including the color scheme. I got exactly what I asked for, down to the last detail. I kept it as a reminder of what not to do to my kids. My little sister who collected Beanie Babies used to give me. Who did not collect Beanie Babies? Beanie Babies. When I was 5 or 6 I gave my brother his own teddy bear. I wanted to give him something I knew he'd love, so a week before Christmas I hid his favorite bear and wrapped it up. He was upset that he couldn't find his bear, but even more upset on Christmas when he realized the reason he couldn't find his bear was because his dumbass brother thought it would make a good Christmas present. We're not friends anymore and haven't been for more than 10 years now. However, we were very, very close from ages 12 to 25. One Christmas when we were 18, her present to me was a wrapped-up VHS tape I had loaned her years before, and she had forgotten it was actually my tape of Wayne's World I was now getting back, as she tried to pass it off as an actual gift. Well, I don't celebrate Christmas, being Jewish and all, but the worst gift I've gotten was from my mother's parents. Now, to set the stage, they were extremely critical people. If you told them the sky was blue, they'd tell you you were wrong and horrible for thinking that. They had a way of making you feel like you were only an inch tall without ever raising their voices. My sister and I would actively hide when they came to visit. Anyway, for every birthday and Hanukkah, my sister and I would get cards with $1 inside and telling us that they put money in our account. No, this wasn't a bank account my parents started. This was an account that they started for us but which we had zero access to until we were 18. When I finally turned 18 I was excited. I'd finally have access to this mythical bank account. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was disappointingly small. As in, they likely only put $5 in each time that they sent us the $1 bill. Definitely was not worth the wait. I got a fake beer can full of handkerchiefs when I was like 14. Toys in general. My mother thought that more was better, so she bought all toys from dollar stores. They fell apart within a week. Later, as my siblings and I grew older, we asked for only one decent gift instead of 50 things that immediately break. My mom had a very hard time with that because more is better. Eventually she came around. Then my son was born and my mom stated gifted him a dozen or more crappy toys for Christmas. She just can't help herself. 10 Bibles. Not all at once, but every year from the time I was 6 through 16. My uncle gave me a Bible for Christmas. Every single year. Christmas came 4 months after my mother's suicide. My father was addicted to painkillers in his depression from his loss, in addition to a history of being an alcoholic. He was an avid coin collector, and as very young children we would enthusiastically help sort his pocket change and look for rare coins or dates that we knew could have flaws that would be worth money. I suppose he thought as teenagers we still had a passion for coin collecting like he did, even though I assure you as teenagers we couldn't care less. As children it was just about spending time with him, not about the coins. Long story short, he bought us some commemorative and collectible coins and not much else for Christmas that year. I tried to be excited for his sake, but I'm not sure he was convinced. That was the last year we got gifts for Christmas. After that it was just a card with money until we came of age, and then no gifts at all. And just to ease the hearts and minds of everyone in this thread, I didn't cut my father out of my life because of one failed Christmas as a teenager. So stop worrying. I will absolutely be calling him for Father's Day. Toilet paper that for some reason was stained yellow on one side. Every time my mum went on holiday, she would bring back a shark tooth necklace to give me for a birthday or Christmas present. I have no idea why. I had never worn jewelry of any kind, and I am the antithesis of a surfer dude. 15 cardboard bricks, all individually wrapped. Every year, my grandma would send me clothing for a 6-year-old. Seems like the concept of my brother and I actually growing escaped her. After a few years of this, my mom got tired of her wasting her money on this and told her to just send my mom the money and she would buy the gift. Just send a card. My mom uses Christmas presents to tell us where she thinks we rank in the family. One year she got me a woman's coat. I'm a middle-aged man. Another year she got all the grandkids pajamas. She got me the same thing. Kids pajamas size small. I'm 6'1" and almost 200 pounds.